I think she would do that, and I think it's a win-win for us and all three of us. That we have somebody full-time doing this instead of part-time, and part-time kills us. And eventually, I'd like to find a better place to put y'all,
yes.
all of you.
We've been discussing that too.
And so I think it works out for the good.
Yeah.
At some point in time, if we don't do something like this, when we get that roof paid for, the city's gonna ask y'all on this money we get from the IBML to start sending it back to us. And you know, that's what we agreed on when we did this and formed the new CDA. And that was a problem that happened in the past, and we tried to clear that up. But you know, it's $16,000 a month is what y'all get.
$15,321.
Okay. And so, you know, a lot of people would ask, what does the CDA need? Was $15,000 a month. And we were paying the building, the IBM building off, and so the city's giving up that money right there. We don't have that money. We're having to make it up on that building.
Right now, that money is in a special fund for the roof project.
I understand that. I know that.
Once we pay that, get the roof repaired, and the city gets the money back, that's fine. I mean, the CDA won't have any money.
Yeah, you will. We want you. Yeah, you want. We don't want. We want y'all to be funded too.
Yeah, we're not gonna leave it broke.
I want y'all to be funded. We're not going to take it all. I don't. Matter of fact, the council can do what they want to do, but I'm not for taking some money away from y'all that you need. I think y'all need to be funded too. And
but the chamber, I agree with the mayor. You know, I think of full time because there's so many resources like the paper. You know, they'll go out to all the residences and help advertise maybe some of our businesses that are not doing as well as they had hoped. I mean, that's the way I see it.
I would hope we
got
that.
Excuse me, for the record, let it be known, today is my wife's birthday.
Happy birthday, Vanessa!
And he forgot.
I need to say something.
No, not on record. Not on record. For the record.
Later on, I don't want y'all to be not funded either.
Now, my mom and dad live in Vestavia, and they get, it's a weekly paper from Vestavia?
I don't know how often they get it. It's once a month.
Once a month, okay. They get
It's the same
once a month, and
publication.
it's probably 16, 20 pages.
It's a good looking publication. Yeah, it's good.
It's good community
people
news.
have it
It's
next
very
to their
good for
phone.
community
It's
news.
a good source. Like, okay, some of them even will have trash pickup, or you know when the leaves are going to be picked up, or you know that's just a good source for the city.
I've seen stories in there about the local elementary schools and what the
Yes.
kids are doing there, and you'll have some high school students writing editorials and things like that. So
And there's something for the city and for the chamber and for the mayor, but it is something that what you want. I mean, it's sitting down and saying, let's figure out what is good for this community and how this publication can best serve.
But also, having a full-time executive director would give you guys a resource from the city.
Yes.
Because right now,
And I'm
the
committed to going
chambers-
to the city council meetings at least once a month, if not twice, because you can't get the same out of the minutes as you do with tone and, you know, what happens during the meetings.
Well, here's where I'm coming from. I think you do need the full-time, but what I would say immediately is rather than funding the part-time right off the bat and going from 0 to 100, what we need to do is a split on the full-time like you talked about at the first meeting we had, rather than funding the part-time. And then if everything works out well with this, then I think the city can be involved in the part-time as well. But initially, I have a problem with going from nothing to $40,000 roughly.
But we are going to pay her by the month until the whistle stops, so she can help with the whistle stop, and then we will look at funding whatever we need to fund in the new budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Say that
and
right.
I'm just stating where I'm coming from, which is, I wanna go with a full-time director. When you've gone a part-time, going to a full-time and a part-time both, with
But
the city
they're gonna
paying.
fund that.
I know,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it'd still be us funding double what they're funding, is my point. Because it'll be about a 40-20, was what was taught before, so I'm good on getting on board, and I think
Well,
they need a
I'll
full-time.
tell you what the chamber's been able to afford up to this point is $12,500 a year for a part-time person. We've operated about as efficiently as you possibly can for an organization like a chamber of commerce. You know, the rent, of course, we've got the caboose. Phone bill is $40 a month or something like that. It's just trivial. And the luncheons kind of break even. You know, so we've been kind of just treading water, and that's what we've been able to pay.
Well, we can take a look at what y'all can do towards a full-time, but what I'm saying is too, when you haven't had any,
Yeah.
is kind of a big jump to start with. I'm not opposed to it, I just think we need to evaluate the type of job that Telus, as your full-time director, does, and make sure that, you know, she's working with the city, and of course, what we want before we're gonna take taxpayer money and fully fund the position. Now, what Donna's saying, if we have the money someplace in this budget that's not being used, because James talked about at the last meeting, showing us where there's some things that could be moved around for the rest of this fiscal year,
Yes.
that does not give me any heartburn.
Yes.
Mine is when we decide what to fund for next year, and this is only me, there may be enough support to do
Well,
both.
it's an investment.
It is.
And that's how I look at it. I would want to, for everyone to say this was a good investment. That's the goal.
It would be great to get Telus on board here for the next, from now till the festival, and then we can see how things go.
And I think that part's doable, and I think, you know, us supporting you in a full-time director is doable as well. I'm just not sure full-time and part-time both the first year.
Okay, well.
That's all I'm saying until
Okay.
I want to evaluate what they're able to do with the full-time director before I totally commit. It's like, you know, I agree it's an investment, but if I could buy, you know, if there were 10 great stock tips I had, I probably couldn't invest in but 3 or 4 of them.
Well, and I will tell you that usually summer is a low time for chambers because of people taking vacations and all that sort of
I
thing.
think it's low for everybody.
But I would think it is, but that is the time to get, my goal would be to take that downtime in order to create relationships with people who are already members, and to create the relationships with the different departments in the city, and to create, you know, just getting started with that.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean, it's footwork and
I started
pushing up
saying,
your
that big
sleeves.
boots on the ground.
And I have no problem with
Look,
what
I'm
Big boots on the
Donna
ground.
was saying on the
I'm good.
monthly for the rest of this fiscal year.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure I'm ready to go with us funding, us funding the whole
To next
thing,
year
and then y'all
too.
funding a part-time.
Well, let me ask
I'm
y'all-
committed to us doing something, but.
Well,
Yeah.
I think,
This.
yes.
We got $15,327 a month coming in from the IBML building. Once we get the roof put on, why couldn't we rent them a little building somewhere to have Chamber of Commerce, CDA, and maybe put the lady Carolyn that worked for the council?
Well, it's entirely possible. It'll depend on because they won't need the full budget. What it is the CDA under state law has to come up with their budget based on their funds, then everything over and above their budget comes back to the city by law. That's the way the separate board. So, you know, assuming 15 times, that'd be 180, well, more than 180, but let's say their budget is, well, let's say it was even big, it was 50. Well, 130 then has to come back to the city by law.
And we certainly would.
What we will need to do as soon as they establish their budget, we need to make sure the city has a copy of it, and the rest automatically comes back to us.
So that
But
would
it's,
be.
it's
on their
something in a
actual list.
budget that they could rent an office space that
If-
would be suitable to all of them.
Yeah, they could put it in their budget if they want to out of that money, because it's an independent board or agency. That's the one thing they're charged with, is setting a budget.
Mhm.
And then anything they take in, which would be the IBML money at the very least, that's over and above the budget they set, is supposed to be returned to the city.
city.
Yes.
of which we could use part of that money to fund.
If they don't
the
choose to
chamber.
put it in their budget, yeah, we could use it to fund any of that money that comes
The
back.
chamber, that's what we were talking
Yeah.
about,
We
using
need,
that money.
right, we need
to
to
fund the
fund the chamber, yes, and
Well-
the position.
You know, I'm just saying, we need
But,
to know their budget to know what's coming back
Right.
first.
but how do you feel about, or y'all feel about funding her for the next 3 months, let's see.
He said he was
July,
okay with it.
August, September.
If James has the savings he was gonna look up for us at that meeting, now he's doing one of these, so I don't know what's going on.
James out of it. When James got rolled up under at the last meeting about, Bobby Joe said that he was going to, so unless you all
I think I
talk
had to go to the
him,
library board meeting before that
Yeah,
happened, James.
yeah,
So James got rolled up good.
Yeah, you have.
Okay, well, I just need to know where the
money.
money's coming from. I'm basically supportive, Donna. I just need to know where the money's coming from and that it meets our new
So
financial
who do I find out where
policies.
the money's coming from?
We have to find out through James.
That's
He's
what I
the only
thought.
one.
He's the city clerk,
You have to ask me to do it.
please. We need to get on with this.
And then we need to make sure for the new fiscal year that CDA adopts their budget in September for the new fiscal year.
Mhm.
And then, once they've adopted their budget, they don't really, it can be basically an idea, under the state law, once they've adopted their budget, anything over and above that budget they take in is to come back to the city, and it does allow them to keep amending their budgets, they get more money. They have to go ahead and set one. I mean, you can make routine adjustments, but, you know, like if something costs more than you said, but there should be enough to take care of what you want to once we see what their budget is, but they gotta do it first, and do it for the new fiscal year. Then what you're talking about, we need to find the savings for
Could you
this year that
find
meet
it?
our
Could you find
financial
the money
policies, but
to fund her?
I'm for
Through
funding her for
September?
the remainder of this
Thank you.
fiscal year.
That'd be fabulous.
So
Yeah,
she can get on board
we
with
just,
it, so
we just
can
gotta
get
go, we
on
just
board
gotta in our own
forward.
books
Lord,
find
mercy.
some money,
Vote on it.
which we should have,
Okay.
but we
Well,
gotta
I
get
think-
it
I
in
think that,
accordance
you
with the
know-
new financial policy we just adopted, which means it's gotta be something in the budget we're not gonna spend that much for, or
Something
revenue
goes
that
wrong,
wasn't
I have to
included
let
in
you know.
revenue for the budget, a one time.
That's okay, everybody else does, just take a number, just take a number.
If everything's going good, we can get, the other, yeah, I just don't wanna do,
But
Yeah, my God.
what we
you
can't
gotta be
do,
careful.
Yeah, I understand. Take one step at a time.
Yeah.
what we can't do
And don't make
is
us-
the council can't ask James to do it, you have to ask me. And then it comes through me, then James don't get stomped on.
Just, so
for
be it.
something that
From
I
now on,
needed to got
I will
stomped on
speak
for.
with you, and I'm sure.
Donna, you're in charge, you're pro tem.
Don't worry, I
But-
will ask you.
but
I'll send you an
James-
email. Not a problem.
Worked for me. Once he had his year in, he became a personnel board person. And he comes on Jefferson County Personnel Board, and all personnel board people come under me. The chief of police and the fire chief and James. Although y'all appoint them, they still, once they get that year in, according to state law, they work for me. So let me get stomped on instead of James.
Don't worry, no problem.
Does that make you smile, James?
He's not smiling, is
Sure. Anything else?
Okay, is there anything else? Yes,
he?
sir.
Yeah. Cindy Salter, y'all all know I showed you pictures of the car.
Baby. She's not Salter anymore, she's
Well, I'm sorry, Cindy Smith.
Smith.
They had their accident.
I think we need to subpoena the records, and so we can look at the police report.
You don't
and
need to
the
subpoena the
insurance.
records. I can get the police
Okay,
records.
all right, well, we need to take this under consideration. All she's asking for is $1,300 that her insurance will
And I
not
certainly
cover the
agree with you
deductible.
already, because it's gonna be a lawsuit.
It's gonna
And
be a
we can't
lawsuit.
file a lawsuit for $1,300. I'm
Mhm.
telling every one of you, we can't do it.
I guarantee you, and it's
It
gonna
will
happen if
take
we don't do something about it.
$13,000 to fight it.
then we'd end up having to pay her more than 13.
Well, I don't know that we have to pay
Hundreds
her,
of thousands.
but we can't go to court for $1,300. That's
No.
what I'm
I
saying.
don't
It's
care
about-
what our insurance company says, we need to
Well-
take care of this.
If it's clear that it's her fault from the police report or whatever, because she failed to yield to a car with flashing lights and a siren,
Well,
then she brings a lawsuit, then it could be considered frivolous in nature, and she could be assessed with our cost.
I don't know that.
I do.
I know that.
I mean, I don't know the circumstances, but I know she could be
$1,300 is not worth
assessed.
taking a chance on, is my opinion.
I agree, and I think it's something we need to take care of.
I still need to see the police report and what the insurance company
I can
said.
get the police report and insurance company's report, I can have that.
Yeah, I need to see those
Would you
before I
get-
make up my
Would
mind.
you get those between now and our next work session so we can discuss
I
it?
can do it, but I'd rather it not come out in a work session,
All right, well,
because people's name will be brought up, and it's an employee problem.
Well,
And if you discuss it, I think it needs to be discussed in
Well, why don't-
executive session.
If it meets the criteria, we can have one after the next council meeting. If you tell Brandon what the criteria for executive session
And
is.
if
Well, and Brandon can figure out what it is, because when you start, you don't know who's guilty and who's innocent.
Well, pending litigation would be sufficient if she's
Right.
threatened to sue. That's all you need for.
That's what we need, is pending
Can I
litigation.
just ask one question, especially with insurance companies? I mean, say I have State Farm, and if I have an accident, and State Farm identified that the other individuals was wrong, and State Farm had to pay for it, usually State Farm goes after that other insurance company. So I'm saying that to say that if the lady Cindy Smith, if she feel that the insurance company was wrong for saying that we were not at fault, then why don't her insurance company sue Travelers? I mean, that's why we pay Travelers. So if she wants to sue anybody, that's who she needs to sue, because we have insurance.
Well, that's not
I
what she's asking
understand
for.
that.
She's asking for her deductible.
But what I'm saying is, if she was right, then her insurance company would have paid her deductible and turned around and sued State Farm.
Tommy,
That's-
how would you?
that's why I wanna
That's
see what's
that's
in
the way
writing.
that's the way it usually.
I agree with you.
That's I mean, the insurance
I'll get
company
everything.
is not
Get
going
everything and
to.
we'll discuss it.
But we have to do it in executive session.
Okay.
Not a
Brandon's-
problem.
Well, I'll just make this
Court
statement, and I'm
Carolyn,
making this
go.
statement as a citizen. I think we set a bad precedence when we start paying for claims after we've been relieved from the claim.
Well,
And I'm speaking from a citizen, not an employee. I'm
And
speaking
I don't
for a
disagree. I don't
citizen.
disagree.
What I'm saying is, we've never seen any documentation in the form of the insurance or in the form of the police report.
Right.
And I need to look at that before I can make an
Well, I
informed
can get
decision,
that.
yea or
Yeah.
nay.
The only thing I can say is that I've talked to the claim adjuster several times, and he said that because of state law, because the officer had on his lights, he was on his way to he was on a call, he had a right.
But
to
did
be-
the insurance company respond in writing?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm quite sure they responded to the individual that, they didn't just tell them we're not gonna pay for it. I'm
Okay,
quite sure
that's
they.
what I mean. I need to see their response in the accident report, or I don't have the information to make an
Well, I'll see if
informed.
I can see if I can get that information.
That'd be great.
You know, standing on principles is okay, but if you'd rather stand on a principle and spend $1,300, or stand on a principle and pay $130,000?
Question
This
is,
is
how many
my
other
fault.
lawsuits do you get if you yield to it?
Well, I'm just saying, this is what you're looking at.
well, let's get the information and discuss it after.
Yeah, because right now, we don't have anything to look at.
Yeah, all we got is a letter from her.
And her- so her-
she
her
states
How
insurance
much
should
is your
not pay
principal
it.
worth, is my question.
I have a question, not about that. As a resident of Hampton Place, when they start this Grants Mill South project,
I restarted it.
well, that means that Highlands, the Church of the Highlands is gonna have to come up Overton and go all the way to Liberty
No.
or,
We're not closing the road.
okay, well, I was just gonna say, we'll never get out of our
We're
neighborhood.
not closing the road.
Okay, that answers my question then.
Ron?
Any additional information on the cost for the quiet zone from Sane and Norfolk Southern?
Actually,
Oh,
Go
I've
ahead.
contacted
Miss
Tom Drake.
Weatherly?
No, Tom Drake. He's supposed to be calling me back this week,
Yep.
so I can speak with him because we're going to get with Miss Wimberly
Good.
about the prices.
and one other thing is that I've been trying to get in touch with Darren Hamrick, our city engineer, and he was very ill for a while, And then he has been on vacation because
And he's back.
he's
today.
back, yeah, he's back today, but I
You'll
did not
see
know
him
that. I
tomorrow.
didn't get any response from the
You'll
email.
see him tomorrow.
They've been, doing a lot of surveying up on the North project, are they getting ready to move on that any